Is the Catholic priest trying to say the same thing as you, but he doesn't? Why is it that I go to church and I don't get it the way I get it when I listen to you or any other guru? Why is it that I get this when I go sit in church in the West? I mean, I get what they're saying. It seems nice, but it doesn't come through as powerfully as this stuff does. Why? Why is that?
Because they are more associated with the image of Christ rather than the spirit of Christ. The life of Christ is one simple message. There is a man who is prepared to give up on all his stuff, including the life of his person, for the sake of truth, which means nothing is sacred except the truth. All else can be given up for the sake of truth the Father, which means all rituals and observances can also be given up. If life can be given up for the sake of truth, why can't customs and rituals be given up for the sake of truth? The church or the temple or any other religious institution places just too much importance on peripheral stuff, often at the cost of what is central. And that is why the magnetism of the Christ eludes the church. Christ had a certain magnetism about him. The church really does not have that, or even if it has that, it has only, a shadow of that, a pale echo of that.
Yeah, it feels to me like this is more like self-help, like I'm working on me with this. Whereas Catholic Christian Church is like you're looking at him, but like how is looking at him helping me? That's why I can never understand the Catholic, the Christian
But if you
way.
go directly to Jesus, he is constantly asking you to look at yourself. That requires a certain boldness, because teachings can be put together and compartmentalized. You can say this is the book of teachings. Here it starts and here it ends, and it is limited now. But life is uncertain, unpredictable, and unlimited. If I just have to give you formulae, it becomes very easy, though dead. Even though it is dead, but it becomes easy. I only have to recite a few tried and tested aphorisms. I know those, sutras, the truisms, they are already present in the scriptures. I can just make them out to you. But if I have to dive into the unknown, I require a certain boldness, a certain faith in God. Then I have to say, come on, open up your life, and whatever there is, we will look at it without bias as inquirers. And then we need to have faith that whatever comes to us now upon our observation will be negotiable. We will be able to navigate through it, deal with it, and ultimately reach the point of solution. I must have faith in the God given capacity to negotiate the various unpredictable, unplanned, and spontaneous problems or the situations of life. If I do not really have that faith directly upon God, and my faith has become rooted through something else, then that something else will become more important, even if that something else is scripture. One has to really ask, is the scripture more important? Is the story more important? Or is the imperishable and imperceivable truth more important? Anything that serves as a substitute of truth, even if it's the image of truth, even if it's the direct word of truth, it's an ugly compromise, it's an ugly alternative. It must not be accepted. When you build a mosque or church or temple, you must always remember what is more important: the concrete, the cement, the bricks, the wood, the statue, the words, the architecture, the rituals, the whole institution, or the plain and simple truth. And it's very, very difficult to remember that beyond this vast and structured and organized institution is the innocent childlike truth. And that innocence is beyond all this. One forgets that. One gets caught in the very institution that one built for the service of truth. I built the temple so that I could serve the truth. And what do I get caught in? The temple itself. That's unfortunately what often happens. That must not happen.
So follow up, like the wife is Christian, very Christian. The wife does not like me being here.
But this is a very Christian place, is it not?
Why am I taking the risk? Why am I?
Because you are a Christian.
I'm not. I really was never Christian.
Because you are essentially Christian. The wife is formally Christian. You see, a real Christ will not be able to differentiate between Christ and Christian. A real Christ will never be able to say no to the Ganga. A real Christian, I mean, will never be able to say no to the Ganga. Are there multiple gods?
And she says there are. And she says that she recognizes that all, well, I don't know if it proves, but she recognizes that all religions are one, basically, or are the same.
Obviously. Because man is one.
But then she, at the same time, doesn't recognize this
Because,
as something to follow.
yes, if she does not recognize this, then she is identifying truth with a particular way of worship or a book. And that identification is false.
So what do you say to somebody that's by your side who feels very, well, maybe I'll leave it like, it's a tough situation because
It's not really tough,
she clings very tightly to her religion.
She has to cling even more tightly, but to the truth.
It's like I'm a threat that I'm doing this.
You must be a bigger threat. You must be a bigger threat to the incomplete clinging. I'm all in favor of clinging, but the clinging must be complete. She must completely cling to the truth. And when you completely cling to the truth, then you give up on everything else. Then you say, I love God so much that I can even give up on the church. You must cling totally to only the one, and everything else is worth dropping then. Is this Ganga coming from any source other than God the Almighty? Then how can you say no to the Ganga? If there are not multiple gods, then who created the Himalayas? The spirit of Christ very much pervades Rishikesh. In fact, 2016, when we came here first, the first myth demolition tour, one of the sessions was particularly devoted to the Bible. It was particularly devoted to Christ. The problem was most Christians avoided that session. They said that if we were to listen to the Christ, then we have enough stuff back home. We have come here for something else. And it took a great deal of effort from me to convince them that you cannot leave Christ behind. You cannot say that Christ belongs to Europe or America and is not found in India. You cannot do that. If we are firmly certain that the entire world is the dance of Shiv, then how can we say that Christ is limited to a continent or country or a place or a religion? A real worshipper of Shiv would be truly fond of Jesus. At least about myself, I can say that. One mark of a non-religious person is that he would value religious organization more than God. God is the end of religion. You know, end means the purpose, end also means the dissolution. God is the end of religion. You cannot value religion more than God. If religion becomes an obstruction in meeting God, then one has to put religion aside. You see, you look at the, you know, exuberance and the freedom of Christ, and how can you not then look at the form of Shiv and say, I see something of that here as well. From where else would the young man get that kind of fearless energy? When you love God partially, then a place is yours. When you love God totally, then the whole world is yours.